Welcome to Negotiating Happiness, the show that helps you find happiness, success, and balance in your work and life. I'm Adriana Fiestro, your host for this journey into entrepreneurship and personal growth. We're broadcasting live on 107.7 and 105.3 FM in New Orleans as part of the United Public Radio Network. We explore the latest strategies, insights, and stories from successful entrepreneurs and experts. From managing stress to building a thriving business, we've got you covered. Good afternoon, everybody. It is March the 17th, 2025, and this is Adriana, your host of Negotiating Happiness, and you are listening again to the United Public Radio Network and UFO Paranormal Radio Network on 105.3 and 107.7 FM in the beautiful city of New Orleans. If you wanted to sit back and watch some of our shows on TV, you can find us on Roku TV. You just have to type in our channel. Hello. I'm here with Filomena Lofranco today. Hello, Phil. How are you?
I'm great. I think I missed the memo on wearing St. Patrick's colors today, right?
I know.
Sorry.
It's okay. Happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody.
Yeah.
If you are celebrating, it's lunchtime. So grab your lunch, grab your coffee, and just come on over because we're about to dive into business stuff. It's Monday after all, right?
That's right.
All right. So like I said, I have Phil here today, and I just want to tell you guys a little bit about Phil and LDV&CO. So we will be talking about Phil's journey through travel, through curated trips, through fashion shows, through everything. So I want you guys to tune in. And if you have to leave us early, don't worry. This will be available as part of the archives or any of the 8 different places we stream. All right. So who is Phil? She's an accomplished executive leader, travel curator, and community builder with over 25 years of expertise in people management, finance, and operations. As the founder of LDV&CO, she has transformed her passion for Italy into a premier travel brand, crafting unforgettable custom journeys and showcase the country's rich culture, luxury, and charm. Beyond travel. Wow, I can't speak today. Filomena is a seasoned HR and operational management professional known for driving organizational success through strategic leadership, operational excellence, and a people-first approach. Filomena's impressive credentials include certifications in conflict management, business, and HR. She's an avid traveler, Italian design enthusiast, and a lover of Tuscan wines. I mean, who isn't, right? She treasures time spent with family and friends, especially during her beloved Sunday night dinners. With her passion for continuous growth, innovation, and meaningful connections, Filomena empowers both individuals and organizations to thrive in today's ever-evolving world. Wow. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to be here.
Did I say that my mom wrote that?
No, this is great.
Thank you.
This is amazing. So tell us a bit about your passion for entrepreneurship. How did you get to be here?
Yeah. Okay. So I think, it was funny. I come from a family of entrepreneurs when I was a young kid. I think about 10 or 11, my parents, who were immigrants, opened up a company, a cafe, and sold espresso and cappuccinos before they were in style. So this is the late 70s, very early 80s. And so there's entrepreneurship, I guess, in my family. They did that for quite a number of years. And then I switched gears and I went into HR and all this other great stuff that you mentioned. And a couple of years ago, the world was changing. I guess I wanted to change as well. And I went into entrepreneurship. So I first started actually with a friend of mine, a neighbor. We started this little jam business that started to really grow. And then we had to have a conversation going, is this what we want to do? We've done really great, but I'm not sure if this is what we want to do or continue. So we moved on from that. And I started the conversation about travel because I have been traveling myself to Italy as a child, as immigrant parents immigrated here to Canada. And I also, in my teens, was a tour guide in Toronto. So I used to be one of those tour guides that used to get on the buses for Italian tourists and say, welcome to Toronto. And on the left, we have this, and on the right, we have that. So I kind of just, came back to that, I guess, as an adult, as someone who's, raised their family, empty nesters, all that good stuff. and started this journey of travel and taking people here. I have a girlfriend of mine that I met on a flight actually coming back from Italy. She's now a very good girlfriend, and she was sitting beside me and my husband. And she said, I was telling my husband after this last trip in 2021, saying to him, I got to do something in travel. I don't know what it is, but I got to get back to Italy more often than just once a year when we travel. And she was sitting beside me and she goes, what do you do? And I said, oh, well, I take women to Italy. And it just came right out of my mouth. And she's like, wow, that sounds fascinating. What's your company called? And et cetera, et cetera. And I was like, I don't know, but can I get back to you in 6 months? So
Just like that. Just like that.
true story.
Yeah.
And anyway, and from there, the journey started. I went in and started to build this little business of mine and getting into entrepreneurship. And that's which has led me to you today, of course.
Yes. Yes, that's amazing. And what is it about entrepreneurship that kind of surprised you? I mean, we all have our preconceived notions of
Yes,
things, right?
yes, yes. So I think when you come from working in the corporate world and sort of, you're not, you're working, you might be a boss. You're not the boss. You're not running the actual company. You're supporting it in other in different ways. You learn things very quickly when you are the owner, the CEO, whatever you want to call yourself, the
Mm-hmm.
president.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing I think some lessons I've learned in the last few years is definitely trust your instinct. When you get that funny feeling or you get that little tug,
Yeah.
someone's tugging you at something, because not everything or everyone aligns with your vision. So really trust yourself,
Yes.
because you have started this journey for a purpose and you have your goals and your purpose. So really trust your instinct. The other thing is sometimes I laugh at this one is because I didn't do this very early on. I do have a very strong inner circle, and a lot of them were tapping me. You're not going the right way. Get back on the road.
That's rough.
You made a
That's
wrong.
rough,
Yeah.
right?
So,
Yeah.
yeah. So you say to yourself, now, is it an ego thing? Was I just like, I know what I'm doing. I have selected the right people to let's go on this journey together. Stop telling me I didn't do it right, type of thing. Or so I say that's the ego part, or it's the unknown, almost a bit of
Right.
innocence, right? Because when you start to be an entrepreneur, at least I think in my age, moving a little bit, as an older entrepreneur, you start to think like, no, everyone's here for the right reasons. Everyone's here for the same goals and stuff. So
Yes.
so yeah, I think that trusting the people around you is very important. To always make sure that inner circle is tight and you're trusting. Um, Looking at things like integrity, who you want to work with. Do these people have integrity? Do they have the same level of integrity as you do? I think that's a big one for me. And because
Yeah.
partnerships are built on trust and shared visions, right? So you want to make sure that integrity is key. Um, yeah, I think work ethic, some of the lessons about, when you're collaborating and doing partnerships, definitely work ethics. But in all that I've just said, I think that you need to be resilient
Mm.
because things are going to come to you. It doesn't matter, whether you go right or you go left. The challenges are always there, and it's sort of how do we decode the things that have appeared in front of us, so that we can continue to be resilient and continue on with our our goal to do better.
That's right. Resilience is such a great word. I can't wait to kind of unpack that. So we've got a hi Heidi, how are you? We're getting a hello from Boulder, Colorado in the
Oh,
States.
nice.
Hello.
Hello, Boulder, Colorado.
um, so resilience, I feel like a lot of people associate that with either very traumatic events in their life or like the hustle and grind. And I'm a believer that you can be somewhere in the middle where you can use resilience to your advantage, right? Do we always want to be strong? No. We sometimes need a break. And I think as CEOs, we want to remember that. And when you're in that, hustle and grind, you never want to stop, but then your body kind of, reminds you that,
Helps you
hey,
out.
yeah, so you need to pump the brakes, right? You need to kind of breathe as well. So it's amazing to see all these different lessons. I think I recently had a post where I put on there, everybody comments like on education and on, I was very fortunate to go to a good school and to have that opportunity, and a lot of people don't. But I wanted to say that um, it's there are certain lessons that you learn in entrepreneurship that you will never learn in a classroom, right? And I think that's one of them.
Yeah, and I think that, we need to make sure that, we're educating, but then we're putting that education into real life and practicing it. And
Yes.
sometimes there's a disconnect. I don't want to get into the
Yes.
whole the importance of the whole co-op mindset, getting kids
Mhm.
out into the workplace before they actually have to get into the workplace.
Right.
But definitely we need to put the practicum into place for a lot of us. And for in regards to resilience, I look at resilience like this. For those of us that have children or teachers or deal with other people that are maybe a little bit younger than us, they have a problem, something happens, right? So it's not the end of the world. How do we decode the problem? How can we sort of learn from it, see the red flags in the future, and also understand what our part was in it?
Mhm.
Because when there's conflict, you're always part of it, whether you're part of it 100% or 50% or 10%. You're part of it. So how do you manage that so that you can come out more resilient in the next time you need to deal with something
Yeah.
like that, a challenge?
Yeah, and it's funny because you like I mentioned it before, you have certifications in conflict management and whatnot, but
Yeah,
it applies to me too. It's like when you actually have to apply those things to yourself in your own business, it's a whole other
yeah,
beast, right?
yeah.
Yeah,
I think that's where your inner circle comes in. You have a
yeah,
couple of people that are entrepreneurs like yourself and maybe even some close friends that you can have a real conversation with, that you can call and say, look, this is not happening. Something's happening.
yeah,
I need 5 minutes,
yeah,
yeah, and
exactly.
you hope they'll be transparent, of course,
Yeah, of
and
course.
and and honest.
Yeah, and it seems Heidi agrees with us that communication is so important in those conflicts, for sure,
Absolutely,
for
Heidi.
sure.
Absolutely.
And even, I mean, in any day, right? I know before we even hopped up on live here, we were talking about having like the corporate speak, right? Like the way you communicate to people. But and I know we were joking about it, but it actually translates into your brand and into what you're trying to put out there, right? So can you tell me a little bit about kind of your process of figuring out, during this entrepreneurship journey, what you wanted your brand to look like, or if you have any tidbits of advice for people that are looking to start out?
Yeah. So I think the first thing is I wanted people to experience or almost put the lenses that I have on when I go to Italy. So you know that I specialize in only travel to Italy. I don't do anything else except Italy. Once you arrive and you touch that soil, you're mine for whatever time we have agreed to. So I think that narrowing down sort of what your goal is. I feel that sometimes entrepreneurs, they're like, oh, we're going to do this and we're going to do that and we're going to do that. And they build too quickly.
Yep.
And that's great. If you have the money and the team behind you, you can reach for the stars, obviously, with great leadership. But for those of us that started very small and we were
Mhm.
like a one woman show and then had maybe some partners and back, that kind of stuff, you might want to really step back and say, okay, what is my niche? What am I going to be really good at? And then I can add a few other layers on. I think that's
Mhm.
sort of something that I would
Yeah.
recommend people
Yeah.
consider.
That makes sense. Yeah. Hi, Mel. How's it going? We've got some regulars coming on. That's
Oh,
nice.
great.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I say this to clients all the time too, right? In how I work, that sometimes really great ideas become very good business models really quickly, and then we just don't have the time to kind of build the basics, and we have to go backwards a little bit. But that is all part of the brand, right? Even the fact that you knew that you wanted to specialize in something, I think that was your advantage, because like you said, a lot of entrepreneurs they want to do everything, and I was the same way. I wanted to do everything. I was like, I can help you with anything, and like, right, but people just automatically think so nothing, right?
Yeah.
Because nothing is specific.
Yeah.
So sometimes I still struggle with that, and
Yeah.
that's okay. But it's really great to see kind of like what the process is, and it's very validating to see from a successful entrepreneur like yourself to say it's okay. We've all been there. We've gone through those
Yeah.
stages,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. Oh,
Absolutely.
Melissa says, I need to go back to Italy. It's soul changing. I think you
No
and Phil,
problem. Give me a call.
I think you and Phil have lots to talk about, Mel.
That's it. Reach out, Mel. We can have a
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah, no, Italy is beautiful. I do need
Mhm.
to, I wanted to kind of dive in a little bit um into kind of what Italy means for you, because you're not just like, you're not a travel agent. Let's put that, let's just make, not that there's anything wrong with travel agents. We love everybody, but
No.
your specific brand focuses
Yeah.
on experiences. So I kind of wanted
Yeah.
to hear more about that.
Yeah. So obviously, we're in Ontario, Canada, so you have to be a legal travel agent in order to sell travel. So that's the
Yes.
first thing. So
Yeah.
for all those people that are buying off of different career people that want to take people to Italy, I'd like you to just remember that they should be certified. so
Yes.
uh, so definitely certified. But the way I run my business is a consulting. I'm a travel consultant, curator, that kind of stuff. That's the way I have built my business. And I have like three levels that I like to say that I service. And the first one is small group travel. I have a couple of tours a year that we take people on. We have two great upcoming tours this year. One to Sicily, beautiful Sicilia, and then Emilia Romagna, which is the food land of Italy. So
Ooh.
if you're into, you might wear stretchy pants for that one. Uh, and then the second tier, I guess you could say, or the second section of the company is planning trips for individuals. So a lot of busy professionals. A lot of my clients are busy professionals. We have a conversation. I get all their wish list, go back, give them this beautiful itinerary, and then we, adjust it accordingly. And then they run off because a lot of people are pay me for their time.
Right.
So if you think about that, if you're a busy professional and you're like, I don't have time to do all that research, I don't want to do it yourself trip. I want something that when I hit the ground in Italy, I want to be taken care of. Then that's sort of the second level, as well as family travel. But family travel in the last few years has really transformed into generational travel. So
Ooh.
much generational travel going on right now. I love it. You're dealing with grandparents, parents, and grandchildren. You have people contacting me that want to take their grandchildren away for a few weeks in the
I
summer
love
or
that.
at Christmas. Yes, it's really different, and we're really enjoying. The team and I are really enjoying putting those packages together because first of all, the process of talking to their why, like what is their goal, what kind of experience do they want to have with these family members, to when they get back and they're just, I mean, the referrals themselves kind of speak volume.
Right.
And of course, corporate travel. We've had a couple of great experiences with our corporate travel, and last year we had a really great men's group go out to the Emilia Romagna area, did some
Mm-hmm.
golfing, did some prosciutto tours,
Ooh,
Parmigiano tours. They
my
ended up at
favorite.
Modena, and they went to the Ferrari Museum and maybe test drove a Ferrari or two. So
Oh,
there's so many great things you can do, and that's part of why or who I am in regards to planning things that are off the beaten path. Maybe
yeah.
not as popular, more secluded.
Yeah.
And then the third thing is what you're looking at right now. We have an event series. So of course, there's the two trips I was just mentioning, the Secrets of Sicily that's happening in September, and
Yeah.
then yeah,
The guys, if you're just listening to this, if you're not seeing it, I've just pulled up ldvandco.ca. I've also pasted it in the comments if you guys wanted to just click really easily and go on it. This is where Phil has posted the Secrets of Sicily
yeah,
and the Emilia Romagna trip as well. And I
yes.
and I believe you were going to talk about this one as well,
Yes, I
right?
just
Yeah.
wanted to, before we move on from the trips, I wanted
Yeah.
to tell you I took that picture in November, that picture in Sicily. That's in Palermo in the center
Oh,
square.
this one.
Yes, this one right here.
Oh,
So
beautiful.
I try to, I'm not a great photographer, but I do try to go out and take the pictures and then put them in my brochures because the
Hmm.
one thing that we do is I go to every single location before I put a package together.
Right.
So that's a little bit the extra, that
Like,
that
these
we
are
provide at the top.
tested. This is
Yes,
not
yes,
just This
Yes.
is not just like a TripAdvisor sort of let's pick a top, like, let's pick
Right.
an
Right.
activity. This is
That's right.
freshly curated. I think that's where people need to focus on the whole travel curator and that for branding. So you can extrapolate some really good ideas even from you, Phil, from this is that that's what sets you apart. And this is exactly what we talk about sometimes when we do the kind of like the informational episodes where this is what sets you apart. You're a curator. You're not just a form of TripAdvisor or whatever
Right.
else.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
I think that, in regards to then, I mean, that's the group one. And to add on to the second level I was talking about was the busy professionals or the families or the corporate travel.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
When I am putting their trips together that they're going on their own, they're
Yeah.
going to see people and deal with people that I know. So when
Yes.
they're, we just spoke about Sicily. So when they're in Sicily and they're going to on a food tour in Palermo, throughout the markets, and Anna Maria is taking them. Anna Maria, the one I know, she knows me.
Yeah.
You're there now. There's this extra level of personal touch. I'm going to say.
Authenticity.
Yes,
Yes.
authenticity, exactly.
Yes.
So, yeah, and then the third level we were just mentioning is the event series that you had just showed, the fashion show. So we
Yes.
do private dinners. Again, we are in the Ontario, Canada area, but we do private dinners. We also have dinners that are open to the public that
Mhm.
people can come, anyone can come. And we've actually had a few Americans that were visiting Toronto
Yeah.
for a convention, and they just found us on the internet and they came too. So it's kind of cool that
Yeah.
to see different types of people finding us, and the fashion show, which is taking place on April
Yes.
30th. This is an opportunity for people to come together and escape to Italy for a few hours. We have dinner and drinks, and we have wonderful vendors, and of course the fashion show. And one thing that we always do is we always give back to community. And this year we actually have a Waves of Change for Autism is our charity this year that we've selected. And so there will be proceeds going to the charity. And so it's travel wear. One thing that people keep asking us is, what do I pack? What do I wear? And so
Yeah.
this gives us an opportunity to really showcase things that you probably have at home, and if not, you could certainly purchase from the stores, the clothing stores that'll be featured on the runway. And I think, Adriana, you have a little bit of personal experience about our
Do
fashion
I
show.
now?
I
I
think
do.
so.
I do. I posted this last year as well. So I actually got to be a part of the fashion show, guys. Believe it or not, this face right here. It was so much fun. Let me just start off by saying not only is it for a really great cause, it was so much fun. I got to meet so many new people. I even brought my mom. Shout out to my
Yes.
mom. She enjoyed it. My mom's a tailor, so this was right up her alley, right?
Yes.
And I made friends last year and we work together. We, go out together, we do things together. So it was really amazing to see that many women come together. Last year it was focused on women, but this year you're mixing it all up, right? So
Well,
I'm
yes,
excited.
because I think I got in trouble after that we were just all women. So we definitely have men on the runway. And I thought, well,
Yeah.
heck, families travel to Italy too. Let's sprinkle in a few children. So we are having a
Yes.
full runway with men, women, and children this year, and a few surprises. We are going a little bit larger
Ooh.
than we did last year, and a little bit more, the full dinner, the open bar, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So a real nice night out is on a Wednesday night, so that we're away from the Thursdays and the Fridays and the long weekends and all that. So
Yeah.
if you're in town or would love to come, April 30th, we'd love to see you.
Guys, and I'm not kidding. There were people sort of like knocking down the door trying to get in, but we were at full capacity.
Yes, we
So
were.
maybe this year, get your tickets earlier because
Yeah.
that was wild last year.
Yeah.
Here,
Yeah.
I'm gonna show, I think, let me see here. I think I
Oh, there we
posted
are.
pictures, yeah, from
Oh, yes,
last
that's us.
year. So
Yes.
this is
Yes.
some of our outfits, guys. We were having so much fun backstage and all
Yeah.
these wonderful people. Oh my gosh, I didn't realize there was so many pictures of me right now. We did
Well,
have
that's okay.
sunglasses, we had
Yes.
bags, we had it all. It was great.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
super great, guys.
It was
Oh,
a
there's
lot of
Romina.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a group
She's a
of
back emceeing this year. Yeah, that's behind the scenes in the basement when you
yes.
guys were getting ready to come up. Yeah.
Yes, with the makeup artist, the hairstylist, everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love
Yeah, it
that.
was a
That
lot of
was
fun. And as you could see, we're very inclusive, right? So we
yes,
have oh wow, you got a lot of great footage.
I did
We
the
have a
backstage stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
amazing, amazing. We're very inclusive. So we have models from all shapes, and
Yep.
sizes and all different colorings because everybody goes to Italy, right?
Yep.
So that's why we try to do that and really welcome people from different ages as well, right? It was
Yeah.
yeah, it was great. It was a lot of fun. Oh, that's great memories, great
It
memories.
was. It was. We had, this is us waiting in line to go up on stage, but
That's right.
we
Getting
had
everybody ready.
yeah, look at that. Look at the girls just having a great time. I'm telling you, the
Oh,
venue was
wow. I think I
beautiful.
need some of that video.
The venue was beautiful.
Yeah,
We had desserts, we had little snacks, we had a full show. There were photographers or everything. We had little
yeah,
bags, right? That was super fun
yeah.
too.
Swag bags. Yeah, we had swag
Yes.
bags. Yeah,
Yeah, for
yeah,
sure. So
yeah,
we had a great time, and I hope that everybody realizes just how much fun that is. And it went through a
yeah,
great cause as well. And
yeah,
you've changed it this year, right? So there's even more new things to kind of like look forward
yeah.
to.
Or every year,
Yeah,
you try to increase
for
it
sure,
and make it better, right? Yeah.
for sure, for sure. I am glad that Heidi liked it. Heidi's still following along. I love it.
Thanks, Heidi.
So this is also kind of part of your skill set, right? Putting together these events.
Hmm.
Before we kind of dive a little bit into that, I just wanted to remind everybody that you are listening to Negotiating Happiness on 107 point 7 and 105.3 FM in New Orleans, and that we are on the United Public Radio Network and UFO Paranormal Radio Network platform. And I'm here with Filomena Lofranco from LDV&CO, and we're talking all about um, inventing a brand and kind of going through the entrepreneurship journey and talking about travel, because I mean, summer's around the corner. So we want to kind of dive into that and what it means to have different experiences with travel. Travel is not just kind of like one umbrella. There's just so much more that goes into it. And we're talking about the experiences of LDV&Co. And we're learning all at the same time. So we thank Filomena for joining us today. And if you're just tuning in, you can catch the full episode in all of our archives or wherever it's getting posted as well. Remember, guys, like we're on everywhere under the UPRN tag. You can find us on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts. You can find us everywhere. Okay. Now let's see here. Oh, and Heidi says, yes, these combos are my sanity in this insane world. I appreciate you both in UPRN. Honestly, if I can provide somebody sanity, I'm good. I have done my job.
Check.
That's so funny. So we were talking about how you're able to differentiate yourself and your brand from these other sort of, ideas of what travel is. We talked about being a travel curator, and another skill set here is being able to do this kind of an event or private events. Or what is something that, what is something that you always use to be able to help you with this? I mean, I'm a firm believer in transferable skills. So what is it that
Yes,
kind of,
yes.
comes in super handy?
Yeah. Well, I think let's face it, it's people skills. It doesn't matter what job you're doing or what career you're in, right?
Yeah,
Sometimes our success is really based on the connections we make with people and the transparency that people see and the authenticity that people see in you when you're speaking to them.
right.
Um, I think it's important to be real. I think that, when you're working with somebody, um, if you can do something great, and if you can't, that's okay too. But they need to know that. You need to be transparent with them, saying, this is what I can do and this is what I can't do. People hire me um, so that they don't have to do the work because they're buying back their time. They're like, I'm hiring you to do this so that I can go do what I have to do. And
Mhm.
so I take that as a very serious partnership and a very serious contract or whatever it is that we're working on. And it's important to me to be transparent and also to, if something's not working, to talk about it. not just say, oh, I'm not going to deal with that, or forget it. It's really to sit down and say, listen, I'm having an issue here. This is the way I'm reading it. How else can we go about it? Or you've asked for this and this is not something I can support or find or do or whatever, or I can do it all. So it really depends on each
Yeah.
situation. I don't think there's a real formula besides having people skills and being transparent.
Right.
Um, yeah, those are the top two, I think.
I think that's very important though, the transparency part, right? Because in a world where, you know, the internet creates, you can be anything you want on the internet. If
Yeah,
you want to be an expert on whatever, you can go ahead and do that. But I think that's what is going to be able to set you apart as an entrepreneur or a business or a service, is having that transparency, right? And not only because we're dealing with, people's lives, people's plans, people's money, people's safety sometimes, right?
absolutely.
Like,
Yeah.
we're dealing with so many things. It's just because um it has to fuel you enough, and you have to be able to go to sleep at night, to waking up the next morning and thinking, this is what I'm meant to do, right? And that shows through your work. If you're not meant to do something, you're typically going to struggle more than others, right, as an entrepreneur. So
Yeah.
I love the transparency, the authenticity, and you have to realize it's so hard to show that these days, because we are trained to consume so much content all at once, and everything is so carefully selected, and sometimes it doesn't represent reality,
Yeah.
right? So I think you've hit the nail on the head there with just being transparent and just being, reasonable, and grounded in reality. Sometimes when people ask you to do things, I mean, we all work with clients, right? They don't know what you know, so sometimes they'll ask something that's completely ridiculous purely out of the fact that they just don't know that that's not possible. So imagine
Right.
sitting there and saying, yeah, okay, and then not delivering, and then who's going to be more upset after, right?
Yeah.
um
I
yeah,
think thank you for that comment about we can be anything on
yeah,
the internet.
yeah,
I think we reach a level in our life where, when you're doing something like becoming an entrepreneur, like second, third career type of thing,
yeah,
and um, you start to really I mean, I feel like I've been able to develop a number of skills before I went into entrepreneurship, and
hmm,
then this whole thing that people hide behind, on the internet or social media, whatever we want to call it, is really interesting. But when you come back and now have to deliver, and you
yeah,
fall short, it really doesn't work for either the client or yourself. So
right,
I
right,
just believe in transparency. I believe in telling people we can do this, we can't do this. I think that kind of sets me apart.
yeah,
I'm very open on what I'm doing and how I'm doing it, and just keeping also the noise out, right? Because there's a
yes,
lot of noise when you're an entrepreneur. Um, I think I struggled a little bit about not being liked. Not that I'm always liked anyway, in just everyday life, of course, like everybody else.
right,
But when you're working with somebody or on a project and it kind of goes sideways, you're a little bit like, oh, but that's not what happened, and you almost get to the point where you feel like you need to defend yourself, and you realize, no, I don't need to defend myself.
right,
I know the truth. If somebody wants to ask me, they can pick up the phone or send me an email, or we can have a conversation.
yep,
But we need to move on because we have a business to run.
right,
And I think that was also like one of those lessons in entrepreneurship that I learned.
yes,
And sort of this inner circle that I have, we're able to say, yeah, it's time to move on. So
yeah,
it's interesting, very interesting. The whole process has been great.
yeah, yeah. And there's just, you're never done, right? Like, if you're a business owner, a CEO, whatever the case is, and you think that you've learned it all, that's when you'll start feeling your business slip away, because you're never done. It doesn't matter who you are, you're never done. And most, like, the smartest people that I've met or worked with or talked to, they never even get close to thinking that. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're always just absorbing, absorbing, absorbing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's where life learning comes into effect, right?
Yeah.
Like I consider
Yeah.
myself a life learner. So whatever avenue I'm kind of driving down, we'll just say I like the life learning for life. I'll be learning
Mhm.
till my last breath. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it makes sense totally. What about tell us a little bit more about, this is more for me. I'm just being selfish now, but I just want to know a bit more of like the hidden gems of Italy,
Okay.
right? Give people some teasers to be like,
Okay,
maybe
I
that's what I
will.
want to do.
Okay. So, when I say, like, you can look up on booking.com, or without disrespect to, sorry, I shouldn't have named the booking.com,
No,
but you can look up these
it's yeah,
internet sites, right? To be
yeah.
fair, and book things. Absolutely, right? I think the little extra that I sort of bring to the table is that, when we're doing a cooking class, we're actually cooking in someone's home. This woman just cooked for her family on Sunday, and you're there on Tuesday eating off her same plates that she just served her family. This is the type of thing. You're going into wineries that have been in generations for years, and you're meeting people that work the land, and then they come in and sit down and tell you about the grapes they just planted, or what season they're in, and when are those going to come
Yeah,
to be able to have that glass of wine.
yeah.
So those private tastings. One of the big highlights for our Puglia trip, excuse me, our Sicily trip that's coming up in September, is we met the artist that did the drawings for Dolce & Gabbana, the SMEG campaign. So the small
Oh.
appliances, they
Yes,
sort of
yeah, yeah,
abstract,
yeah.
yeah. So he's a
Yeah.
wonderful guy. And so I've booked the people traveling with me. We're going to go to his shop, and he's going to show us, sort of his creativity and all that kind of stuff,
The process.
the process and the why, and how he got to work with Dolce and Gabbana. So these are like cool. At least for
So
me, I think
cool.
they're cool, right?
Yeah.
The other thing too is, like, when you're traveling and you're going out there and curating those trips, you're meeting people. And I met this wonderful woman who was born in Calgary, Alberta, in Canada, and lived here for a number of years. Went back to Italy, and now runs a jewelry store, artistic jewelry store in Florence, in downtown Florence, but she's Canadian. And so when I bring my guests that are going to Tuscany or Florence, or I'm sending them, we always visit her shop. And it's so nice because it's a little bit of home, but you're in Italy, that kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Or we have a couple that a few years ago bought a 13th century villa off the internet from here, from Ontario, and now is running this beautiful, beautiful villa out there. So these are connections that you make because you're out there meeting people, networking, being
Yeah.
open to opportunities. So when you ask me about sort of what of our little hidden gems, these are just a few. There's many
Yeah.
more. I did mention Puglia, so I'd like to just finish that sentence
Yeah.
and say that we have a couple of masterias, which are old farmhouses in that region, in Italy, in the Puglia region, that have been transferred into boutique hotels. So when you're dealing with the owners of these farmhouses that have been there generations for years, and they're bringing you into this beautiful bedroom, it's like Restoration Hardware came in there and kind of decorated it all, and they're telling you that was where the horses used to eat, like the barn area. Meanwhile, it's transformed into a beautiful, hotel room with a sitting area and all that. So much history,
Yeah.
and real experiences. And these are people that have are worked the land, and they really have passion for it, and they give you that experience when you go there. So that's kind of the little gems, I'm going to say.
Yeah. That's amazing. This is kind of, like away from your typical tourist. And I mean, you can still go to the big cities, you can still do all of that wonderful
Yeah.
stuff. But it just depends on what level of, I would say, like immersion you want to go in. Like, how deep do you want to sink your feet into the land that you're in, right?
Yeah.
That's what sets this apart, I would say.
Yeah. I think there's like different travelers too, right? Like if you've never been to Italy, you definitely have to do the Rome, the Venice, the
Yeah,
Napoli, that Amalfi Coast area.
sure,
You
sure.
definitely have to do that Tuscan area, that whole area. If you're more of an experienced traveler, been there maybe once or twice, and you want to do something else, then you hit the other regions. And then for those really experienced travelers that are like, I've been all over Italy. I know it all.
Yeah,
I don't need anything.
yeah,
I would say things like, well, what are you doing from December 7th to the 6th to the 16th? Because what about the Festival of Lights in Northern Italy? And
Ooh,
going into Tuscany and the wineries and just the way they get ready for the Christmas season. So there's so many things that are out there that
yeah,
people just might not know about. So there's something for
exactly.
everybody.
Yeah, exactly. That would be amazing. You know, whenever I think of Europe and Christmas, I think the travel industry has like hammered it into my head that it's always like the Christmas markets in Germany and Austria and but you never think of maybe some of the because they're typically like colder countries, right? But
Right. Yeah.
I love heat. So I would love to go see Italy,
Yeah.
in the Christmas season and seeing all the different
Sure.
traditions. You can't,
Yeah.
that is not a single place that you can step into where you won't find history, right?
Absolutely.
And I think it just depends on how you go about it, right?
Yeah. For sure.
So no, this is great. I love some of the pictures that you're posting on here. It just shows the little
Yeah.
details and some of obviously the Colosseum. Who doesn't know the Colosseum, right?
Right.
But maybe you don't have, maybe you've never gone into the private tours or some of the other things that they
That's
run
right.
there,
That's
right?
right.
Or same with I love the coast, but imagine
Mhm.
even if you look at the architecture, imagine what you're looking at is a house, but then you go in and you discover that it's an entire shop where they make things by hand, or it's a kitchen, or it's a,
Right.
there's so much to kind of explore, and having somebody that's already been there and done it and experienced it and made it
Yeah.
better is such a big advantage if you're a good traveler.
Yeah. And I think that's why our small group tours are also really popular,
Mhm.
um,
Mhm.
because they are 6 to 8 people, as I said, small group tours. We can get in and out of places, restaurants, attractions, with a smaller
Yeah.
group. There's that attention to detail that you get lost in those groups that are 18, 24, and that's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, work as well. But for what I do in my branding and, what we do here, we specialize in small group tours. And so this is something that you don't also have to do the tours with myself, or you can hire me if you have a small group that wants to go away. You can
Right.
definitely hire me and I can put it together and I can either come or you can just take the package and run with it and meet the
Right.
people when you're there. So there's so many ways we can make things happen.
Right. And Heidi
Yeah.
says beautiful photos. I know, Heidi, right? I just feel like I could just jump right over there.
That's fair. We're
I'm
gonna
just
transport you there, Heidi, to
yeah.
fashion. If you come to the fashion show, we actually,
Yes.
yeah, we transport you right to Italy. So definitely,
Yes.
yeah,
I'm just on your for anybody that's also watching this video, I'm just on the LDV&CO Instagram page. I pasted all the links, guys, in the comments if you wanted to check out on how to get in touch with Phil or to kind of follow LDV&Co and their events and trips coming up. You just have to go into the comments wherever you're watching and click, or go into the caption. And if you're watching this on an archive, go into the caption. You should be able to find the links there as well. Um, it's just it's so great, and I have to say that Phil, you're probably living a lot of people's dream because myself included, I've always thought about, hey, how can I just do whatever I love the most? And this is whatever I love the most.
yeah.
Or how can I
Well,
incorporate that
yeah.
into my work? And you're living people's dreams. So tell me, how does that make you feel, or how, like, what, and obviously this is a lot of work on top of the fact that this is amazing.
Yes.
There's a lot of work that goes behind it. So
There's
what
a lot
makes
of
this
work.
worth it? What makes this worth
So
it for you?
okay, so the first time I went to Italy was 1977. I was a little girl and I was walking with my dad down the stairs, down the stairs from the plane, and
Yeah.
we had arrived in Milan because one of my aunts was getting married. And at that time, the planes, it wasn't connected to the terminal. So you had to come down those long stairs and then ride a little bit of a little shuttle, to the
Yeah.
main airport thing. And I don't know what happened, but I feel like I got the La Dolce Vita moment, I'm gonna say, when
Yeah.
I was this little girl, 7-year-old girl coming down those stairs. As soon as they opened the door and we walked out, I don't know what it was. It was this energy of being in that country and stepping onto that soil. And then just in awe as a little girl watching and listening to the language that we spoke at home as well. everyone talking and communicating and sharing stuff, food and laughter and love and family and culture, that it would just kind of just fulfilled me just from being that young girl. So I think your question was more around like what keeps me going
Yeah.
and what, yeah. So I think that feeling has never left me. So that definitely keeps me going. It is a lot of work. I'm not going to
Yeah.
say that it's not a lot of work,
Yeah.
but it's also very rewarding and it's a lot of fun.
Yes.
Even through all the hard work, bringing people or planning trips for people that come back and really experience the authenticity of Italy. So that keeps me going definitely. Your comment about, oh, we're living people's dreams and all that. I think that, it was just a point in my life that it was ready to do this again. I
Yeah.
kind of started it in my teens and
Mhm.
then did a detour, getting married, having children, going into the corporate world, all that other stuff I had to do, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And now I've kind of returned to that.
Yeah.
And I think that I feel very blessed. I think, when people speak to me and they hear my story or why and all that good stuff, they can see that it really comes from a place of genuine love and making sure everything's just perfect for our clients. And because they've invested in me, and they want to make sure that they get what they, I guess, I promised them, and I do promise a great experience. That's for sure.
Yeah, and for you guys just listening, I've just been playing the reels here in the background, and everything just looks so beautiful and so different than a lot of the things that you might think of when you say you're going to travel. But again, it depends on what you're into, and depends on what you're looking for. But this, I would describe this more as an experience, right? Depending
Absolutely.
on what you
Yeah.
want to
Yeah.
experience. What if you had to give some advice in terms of, maybe the personal side and the business side? I believe that they're both intertwined. You can't do this without,
Yeah.
it having some sort of effect on your personal life as well. But what advice would you give somebody who is looking to pour their heart and soul into a business or into a venture, entrepreneurship journey? That if you could do it better, like how would you do it? What's that something for you that you've
Yeah.
learned?
So there's a few pieces to that
Yeah.
question. I guess the first thing I want to say is that, you know, when you're going into entrepreneurship and you have an established family and friends and all that kind of stuff, and you're kind of like almost leaving that circle a little bit to go do this entrepreneurship, it's the communication. It's that everybody knows what you're doing, where are you, and also making sure that you're balancing your calendar. Very important, at least for myself.
Yeah.
I want to be there 100% for my family and my friends, and I want to be there 100% for my clients. So to me, what's really helped is the support from both sides. Being able to speak to your family saying, look, this is what I'm doing, and being able to speak to your clients saying, look, this is when I'm available. So I
Yeah.
think communication is very important, being transparent on what you're doing. The average person understands on both sides when you can't do something, and this is why, because
Yeah.
you've told them, you've explained that. So that's for sure. The other thing too is you got to really like what you're doing. I mean, I get up at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, for those people that know me. And when they say to me, do you ever sleep? Well, I do sleep. But when I have to have a meeting with my contacts and my suppliers in Italy,
Right.
I need to get up at 3, 4 hours ahead.
Yes.
So, and they have very good life balance where they have their lunch breaks that usually go between an hour to 2 hours, depending on what part of Italy you're speaking to them in. And
Yes.
so this is the stuff that I need to do. And when I'm doing that, it's I love it. I don't think I've ever complained about getting up at 2, 3, 4 in the morning, depending on what time the Zoom call is, to make sure that we get what we want and we need
Listen,
from.
you could ask me to be at the airport at 4:30 in the morning, and I will be there with a smile on my face. I might look a little rough, but I will be
That's
there,
right.
and I will, find coffee and do
Yeah.
it. If you're asking me to do that on a normal Tuesday, we might have a problem. So
Right.
kudos to you.
You're right. Listen, you know what? I think that this business is all in the exchange of energy business. So I can definitely send an email to a supplier saying, I need this, I need that, I need this. But then
Yeah,
I can also call a supplier saying, look, I have this client. This is how many people it is. This is what they need to do. Let's have a conversation about some ideas that we can put a really great itinerary together. And then
yeah,
you do the email thing. And,
yeah,
my suppliers love that. They're like, you're the only one that kind of calls us and says, let's have a conversation the way they like to do business, which is over an espresso or a
right,
meal.
right.
So that is one thing that I love to do. And that also impacts, your house because
Mhm.
you're speaking extremely loud. You don't need to be, but you are
Yeah,
speaking extremely loud at 4 in the morning on a Zoom call.
that's
So,
funny.
managing all those expectations. But I
Yeah,
think the biggest thing for like if someone's going into entrepreneurship and sort of starting this journey and maybe some of the things that they might want to keep in mind is definitely trust your instincts, definitely.
yeah,
Build your business with integrity. If you're going to say you're going to do something, you do it. If you need to change what you're going to do, let the people know. That's for sure.
yeah.
And never underestimate the power of resilience. And that also comes to fight. There's a lot of doors that close or people say no's, but there is that yes that comes down the road. And when that yes comes, you'll be ready
Yeah.
because you've been practicing with all the no's. That's what I'm gonna to leave you with. Like definitely.
Yeah. No, it's definitely something that I think we all learn to apply in our own way, right? When it comes to entrepreneurship. And this is why I asked this question because people have very different answers as to what keeps them going or what makes it worth it to them. So thank you so much for the insight. We've flown through this hour so quickly, right? And I think at one point you were like, "Oh, it's an hour." I was like, "Don't worry, we got this."
I
Yeah.
was.
No, it's always super interesting. And you can also tell whoever comes on here, whoever's super passionate about what they do, they don't have a single problem talking about it for an hour. So
Yeah,
this is great. Um, the last thing I guess that I would say is come see us in April,
sure.
right? Come
Yes,
see us in
definitely.
April. I can't wait. I'm
Yes.
just thinking of like outfits and hair and makeup, right?
Yeah, we got a great lineup this year. We got
Yeah.
some great new stores, some
Yes.
returning stores. And
Yes.
yeah, no, we got some great new scenes. And I think that what people, if I could add, it's not a fashion show where models just walk up and down a runway. We actually create scenes, be
Mhm.
it Italy. So we actually transport you to Italy for a good 90 minutes,
Yes.
I think, at least over an hour for sure. It
Yes.
goes by very fast. And so that's sort of the uniqueness as well about our fashion shows. It's not just people walking up and down; it's creating those experiences in those areas and what you're going to wear when you're at those doing those experiences. Really, that's what it is. Yeah,
Yes. Yes. And it also goes to a great cause. So it'll be a
absolutely.
great,
Yes.
great night out.
Yeah. Great night out. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I can get a few of my friends just so we could all sit at a table together. So hit
Yeah.
me up, guys. Hit me up.
We have some block seating that we just introduced. So
Mhm.
if people are buying 10 or more tickets, then we'll have some block seating available at the fashion show because it is set up as a real show that there's just chairs and the stage,
Yeah.
and we'll put your company's logo on it or that kind of stuff just to kind of have people coming together because people want to come together. But
Yeah.
as you know, we also have a lot of solo people that come to our events
Yes.
because it's all about getting out there and networking, and we're at a time in our lives where it's like you don't need to wait for people to go do something. Just get out there and do it.
Oh,
So
for sure. For
yeah,
sure. Yeah. So whoever wants
yeah,
to come, just come. I bet you're gonna have a great time. And everybody was super friendly last year too. Again,
yeah. It
people are
was a great
knocking
crew.
down the door to try to
I
get
know,
in.
I know,
So
I know.
yeah.
And I'm glad you're saying that because it's true. I mean, I was
Yeah.
being removed from what I was doing to go to the front door to say, I'm so sorry
Yeah.
to people, like you can't come in because we don't have any more
Yeah.
seats left. So it was
Yeah.
very flattering. Yes, very flattering. We hope
Yes.
and we know that this year is going to be great too. We've increased the seats this time and added
Mhm.
some really new features, and we have some opera as well. We have all kinds of great little things happening this year. Yeah.
Ooh, little
Yeah, yeah,
tidbits
great.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Heidi, I wish Boulder, Colorado was a bit closer for you so that you could
Yeah.
join.
But Heidi, join one of our trips. We'll meet you that way. How's that?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Italy
Okay.
bound.
That's
Well,
right.
thank you so much for coming on, Phil. I know you're very busy, so I really
Yes.
appreciate the time and the insight, and I hope you come back on again.
Yes. Okay.
Um,
Well, thank you.
I hope everybody enjoyed this, and I mean, I just enjoy the visual, the imagery of everything every time I look, right? So it's great. Thank you so much to the platform, to the United Public Radio Network, UFO Paranormal Radio Network at 105.3 and 107.7 FM in New Orleans. Thank you so much to everybody in the chat. We always enjoy the comments and the questions. And we hope that you join us next week as well. I will be going on a vacation, so I will say that maybe I'll be filming a couple of things and then making a special kind of episode. I haven't done that yet, so I think I want to do that for everybody. And oh, Heidi, I love all the positivity you're sending over here.
Yeah.
She
Thank
says,
you.
gratitude and much love. Yes, agree. The photos are gorgeous. There we go. Well, guys, thank you so much again, and we will see you next week. Have a wonderful rest of your week.
Yeah. Thank you.